That's why I back you up without regard, because I'm going to make it. I don't care how many dumpsters the rest of them get put in.
You want to be
Oh, shit.
Hotel.
Good evening. This is BoomerRexTonight. How y'all doing? I once again have Mr. Boomer Rex himself with me.
You know, we have new lighting in the studio. Can you hear the air quotes on the studio? Yeah. And so I'll tell you everything you need to know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I don't know where I was on April the 13th of 2012. Anyway.
And Ethel.
Hi.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen, and we are done. Our killer legends. Sorry, folks, no more of those.
But Halloween, it was fun.
You know, as opposed to murders, I have some really interesting numbers and statistics to share with you all about where America's money really is. And you're this. This will be fun. All right, so let's start off with New York officers.
Oh my God. So the police union says that the vaccine mandate is going to put 10,000 officers on the, off the street, right?
Right.
Well, right now that number is 34. So not surprised the union got the number a little wrong. Certainly understand why they would have said 10,000.
And what were the other numbers involved in that might have caused them to bump it up and make it not seem so crazy?
There's, 9,000 on unpaid leave? And this is all city employees.
There are 12, this is all city employees, right? So there are 357,000 New York City employees. 12,000 have applied for medical or religious. Right? So even, assuming the police are the right fraction of that, the most officers you'd ever lose is about 2,000.
Okay, so this is including firefighters.
All city employees.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that doesn't sound nearly as bad as they're making it out to be.
10,000 police officers off the streets. Yeah.
It sounds like they misequated that number, right?
No,
Well,
it sounds
and
like
they're-
they made it up.
Yeah. Well, and they're looking at a big chunk of them that take early retirement, I have no doubt.
Guys, if you're resistant to getting a vaccine that can protect your neighbors, family, your co-workers,
Yeah.
then I'm perfectly happy with put off the force.
We should go look at the Appalachian that we let 10% of them. There's a population you can't find in Thailand doesn't look.
Yep.
I know, no part of Mexico I know of. Right, there's gonna be small meth towns and stuff. I'm not talking that. I'm talking that this was a real town, like a mill and everything. It had all the American dream,
Yep.
and we let billionaires eat it alive. No, I'm
And
not sympathetic to the anti-vaxxer types. I am sympathetic to the look at this go, right? Giving the TV channels to the cell towers was supposed to make it better somehow. No, we always sell everything good or bad. It's gonna be good. And
It doesn't turn out that way, usually.
even the stuff that was supposed to be good.
Look, there's a simple reason. Citizens United allowed corporate America to buy Congress, period. That's what they've done. Right? So anything you do that interferes with their profits is not happening.
And this is the one that says that money and speech are the same, and you have a fundamental right to speak.
Right, and that corporations are people and
Yeah.
speak. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, no, we're going to get back to that because this is really good, but this is going to blend into what we're talking about later. So
Yeah,
let's hold off on that
So
particular
you want some
discussion.
good news?
Oh, yeah, I love good.
Okay. So, and it's a tiny piece of good news, but at least it's in the right direction,
Fair.
right? So, over the last 10 years, we have seen expanding usage of energy, specifically electricity. But U.S. carbon emissions are down, Japan are down, Brazil is down, Russia's down.
How much?
Oh.
Not terribly much, but the
This
point
is
is, this is in the face of, this isn't per kilowatt hour, this is overall.
Yeah.
Right, this is in the face of, so the point is that where you had growth, right, and people could put in sustainable energy, or,
Yeah.
80% of the coal-fired power plants proposed.
Oh, good.
We've moved a tiny step in the right direction. Point being, it is possible to move in the right direction. And what does that mean? It means that a decade ago, we were looking at 7 degrees Fahrenheit by 2100. Today, same model, well, better model now, says 2.5 to 3 by 2100. But that also includes some.
I think when Jeff Bezos is involved in your climate plan.
Yeah, you're probably in trouble. Anyway, the point is that we've taken, just from market force, taken steps toward the right direction. So it is possible to move that number. Question now is how to make it.
No, I don't want to be the bad guy here, but we patted the British on the head and gave them 1 million attaboys for their reduction in plastic bottles. And all they've done is move. There's a lot of rugs. That's my only concern here.
Okay.
Just like I grew up. I remember we talked about this in 1987 at the Seattle Science.
Oh, yeah.
And you agreed it was a thing. We should do some stuff about it. But knowledge did come online. All kinds of stuff that has been true.
Yep.
But I was like in the school that I was going to, we were really pushed all the like home recycling stuff, and then come to find out that was all wasted time. That was corporate designed time sinks, so you could feel good, not mind.
There are reasons to separate the waste flow and so right, but they don't have to do with reducing CO2.
Yeah, it's all running in central.
Yeah, you can get some recyclables out of that. And stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and truly, the only thing that's recyclable are metals, right? Glass, not so much anymore.
Yeah, no one's got
plastic. No.
Yeah. And they all the soda companies are always promising like carbon capture. One of those. It'd be a really cute idea if it ever worked ever. But like fusion, fusion actually could work still. Carbon capture money we're gonna throw after good money we're gonna throw after bad.
Yeah. Carbon capture is a hard road to hoe.
The geological storage and the others are not. There's the Swiss technologies, maybe. They had something that was printing stuff out of it. Planting trees would be a good answer. But that's my thing. If we had taken all the time wasted on separating plastics to just plant trees, right? Or actually snake.
All right, folks, this is your homework. Go out, plant a tree.
Buy a snake plant. They put off the most oxygen according to NASA. Apparently, NASA has started hiring the hydroponic wheat because those are the ones who know how to grow plants. Weirdest places.
That's true.
Using the most limited, right?
Yep.
Observable techniques.
Right,
low energy. Yeah.
So is that 2.5 to 3 degrees good enough to help? No.
It's a big deal. We're going to be glad about that.
Yes. No, it's better than 7.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But what we have done is served the climate to where the word climate doesn't mean.
Yeah.
Right. Again, I think we've said it before. You're not going to be just like last year, only 2 degrees hotter. Mm-hmm. It's going to be weird.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
We're going to have wild swings in both directions.
That 2 degrees is going to have to go through every math problem and weather pattern again and again and again. Yep. So I like that several of the kids are talking more about climate weirdness.
Oh, I like that word.
Yeah.
Which explains looking for the right word. He was thinking climate destruction. Climate weird.
Well, that at least fits the right. It's a record snowfall, and 2 days later, it's now you have this flooding problem in a season where you were ill-equipped.
No, I remember 1 year in New Hampshire. Never in 1 year in New Hampshire, 90 degrees in like January, and we were skiing. It was ridiculous. For like a week.
No, I remember when similar things led to. I was there during the big Valentine's Day that iced in Logan Airport. And outside of like Chicago and Moscow, there's a handful of places that do more snow, but not many. And if they're going, ice, what are you gonna do?
Were you there for the April Fool's Day?
Probably.
That was really crazy. And then the ice storm. You guys were gone by then, but the ice storm of 2008. That was nuts. I'd never gone without power that long in my life.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
The April Fool's snowstorm cost us power.
Well, I lived where I lived, right outside of Manchester, so we were out for. We had a generator, so I wouldn't even.
We were on Main Street, Nashua, and our power was out.
Well, again, we had a generator, so I probably didn't
Yeah.
even know how. Like I should ask.
Fortunately, we had a neighbor
I
who
should
had a
ask my
generator.
That's when we learned the value of generators.
Oh yeah, always have a generator. If you live in New England, folks, you
Oh, yeah.
need one.
Well, he brought us an extension cord.
Oh,
What would we
nice.
do? Plugged in.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Anyway, the point is, tiny steps in the right direction,
yeah.
but for God's sake, in the right direction.
Journey of a Million Miles, all of the
Starts with a single step.
Yeah, but the point is you need to keep pushing your governors and your representatives that we need to keep going in this direction. That's very
I
important.
feel bad. This is like the second time today I've been no fun about climate stuff. Because earlier, Risen was telling me about somebody's doing this great fundraiser. Got $6 million. We're gonna roll that into the machine, the rivers and stuff.
Yeah, their goal is to get $30 million. If you know about them, you might have heard about him, Mr. Beast. You can find him on Facebook too. But they do good things, good works, and this is one of the things we're working on right now is trying to get trash and plastics off beaches, out of the ocean, out of the rivers. So they're trying to collect $30 million by January 1st to get 30 million pounds. Each dollar takes out a pound of trash or plastics from various
You're right. Now I'm going to be.
beaches.
No, I already did.
Has anybody told them they need 1,000 times that?
Me today, I was so that was a lot of fun. Let me tell
Yeah.
you.
No, my point is kind of like what you're saying. Like we got to start somewhere, and I feel like it might not solve the problem, but it's a start to say people be like, well, got to do something.
And if you're
right?
rolling it over, right? Again, if you're not Nestle and doing this as some scam game
Right.
to boost stock prices or whatever, and in fact, they don't say these. That's the funny thing. There's a comedic group that goes around pretending to be corporations on the internet, promising we just announced this new thing of all of these scholarships, and their stock goes down universally when they do something good.
Well, of course.
Yeah, no, So anyway, no, if he's going to roll over the right money raised into the next thing,
Yep.
sure. As you pointed out, these are good things. Like cleaning up a beach is not bad,
Right.
Yeah, and they've already removed.
but it's
helps that
36.
be.
They've already removed 36,000 pounds of trash from the two dirtiest beaches in the world.
Oh.
Long shot, sound good.
Well, and again, a lot of this is
Not the defiant.
prototype.
Mhm.
Paint all the roofs white.
Iterate.
Paint
Oh, yeah.
all the roads white.
So
Paint
what
every
does
parking
what
lot
does
white.
painting the roofs and the roads white do for us?
It reflects more sunlight.
Got a roundhouse number.
All right. Well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to like walk you into the.
we'll get you some more information on that and
Well,
why
thanks,
it's good,
BoomerRex, for that.
why it helps. But so painting your roofs or getting your roof white, not black, not charcoal, not gray,
White.
specifically, and it has
Yeah.
to be white.
Oh yeah, and we can make ice. We can do. There's a lot of because you need to be aware of the geoengineering. They have no idea what they're doing. They want to try something. They're wrong. That goes weird. Right. I'm much more comfortable with, like that we can make ice. Right. We found out in World War II you take sawdust and ice and make ice that likes temperature above freezing. And yes, it would be a huge project. Yeah. So I've seen how many iron filings it takes to start trying to play with the ocean. That
Yeah.
we need.
Yep.
And I don't want to create another big dead zone for.
So you want to hear a great conspiracy theory?
Ooh, I love a good conspiracy theory. You know me too well.
Well, this sounds like one, and I'm not sure it is. Let's see. Everett Stone is a businessman, and he owns a private intelligence firm called Untitled Chapter. He's running for the U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. So he held a news conference to share that he was approached by folks working with what they wanted was dirt on politicians, judges, dirt
Of course.
right? Not standard Oppo research, right? This is dirt.
The stuff you get when you start bringing in Intel mercenaries.
Yep.
Well, and everybody's done something in their lives that they're not proud of. And question of how they handled it and how they move forward. Sadly.
Yep. So anyway, this Flynn-linked group called Patriot Caucus approached him earlier this year and offered to hire his firm to gather dirt on officials and recruit others to assist in the plot. And one of the men allegedly told Stern that they had retained the services of active intelligence, domestic. Anyway.
Hold on, wait. Are they a part of the government? Anyone that? No. We saw this with the Keystone Pipeline and Tiger Swan. Built dossiers, and that's the thing. I knew somebody who was talking about using electronic intelligence people. That they were simply going to clone the boss's cell phones, trade inside them. And reality of that. That's not cut and dry.
It is cloned their cell phone. That's an
Jurisdiction where a lot of this happens. That's less clear.
might be uninformed. Anyway, I mean, this is so bad. It sounds like a conspiracy. And again, we'll see.
And the
But it
Overton
sounds
window
like
is
it
moved.
may not be. Well, and we already know, and the Russians intervened 2006, 2020, trying to help Trump.
Yes.
Right, and they intervened in a big way in both of those elections.
Neither of which involved hacking votes that I've ever been intel.
No.
Fine, but no, that's the usual defense I hear is they didn't hack it. No, they did. They did. They hacked the election. And we can argue whether or not foreign countries should be allowed to advertise, except we really shouldn't. But again, I'm crazy. I don't think you should. If you're an expat, I don't think you should be allowed to raise money for this election. Just because the way I could funnel money with that cycle is so easy.
No, they bought the gullibility list, and then they fed them.
They bought the people who couldn't
Facebook
afford to
memes
pretend
and
the
Twitter
American
memes
dream
and-
exists anywhere on the ground. The people who can look at the world around them and go, "This is really bad and way more shit than fire."
And
Right? Nobody who thought they had
Trump
it.
is the way to set it all on fire. I don't think you'll like what burns.
Well, one, I wouldn't like that, or $1. They can... No, I absolutely can understand it. If America wasn't already working for you, the fact that it promises to punish the people who think are doing better,
Yeah.
I absolutely last place aversion is a psychological effect. Right, that we would rather give money up than down.
That
if we
wasn't
think
as
we're
big a
going to
deal
fall
in
down.
the when
It worked.
what?
When it was something like working.
When it was kind of working. When a guy, had a workaday job.
Yeah.
And it bought his house and his local college. And so, well, we got rid of all of that because take all of that away, you can make the rich.
You probably can't be stealing.
Yeah,
Stealing
we're going to be getting
It's
back
a lead
into
in.
There you go.
Well, but we're not there yet.
We're foreshadowing.
Yeah. Like helping.
Let's see, what do we want another? How about the book burners?
For the burner now.
All right, so Governor Greg Abbot sent a letter to the Texas Association of School Board Directors, demanding that they take action to remove the extremely inappropriate books from school libraries around the state. Now, there's a list of 850 books that preachers find objectionable. So I've read the list of 800.
Anything good?
There are a handful on there that I think are probably, high school, college only stuff. But the vast majority of what they're against are the LGBT, so on. And I'm
Marlon Bundo type books.
I'm looking at these. When I was in junior high school, I can look back on people that probably would, right,
Oh,
to
so many.
understand that they weren't the first gay, right? And I know how miserable some of them were. I was stupid at high school. And, anyway, so you got these clowns in Texas, and their standard thing is this is recruitment. I'm sorry. I'm male, cis. You never had a chance to recruit.
No.
Male cis.
I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
Again, that's always been my favorite trick is, right, so your conversion therapy would work on you. Well, no. I mean, promise you, right, if I have you in a cage, I can make whatever I tell you. But,
Right, or at least pretend to.
Oh, yeah.
To make it stop.
Yes.
Yes.
But, no, everyone is quite certain that, like, my sexuality changed by conversion.
Right. And then they suddenly are worried about recruitment.
No, and I can understand, like, I wish I could pretend this came from a good place. Right, the terrified how my kid's going to encounter the world and look where America's headed, like, yeah, that's a harder road to hoe than it had been. Right, that we are learning fast that a lot of the successes we had, right, socially, very thin. Even the kids in South Park have come out and apologized for their part in the discourse.
That's fair.
Because they thought it was way more deeply ingrained in us.
Imagine how much harder it is if you think you're the only gay person on the face of the earth.
Right.
And so probably 40% of the books, right, fall into this category of sexual awakening, sexual that they're frantic to get rid of. Guys, I'm sorry, those don't recruit.
And I'm having a hard time thinking of any good sci-fi book that doesn't have tendencies, some of which are bad. But again, I am sex scene, of course, which is good.
Yeah, don't just throw them in there for fun. Just leave me.
That one is fine. It's several of the John Ringo ones. Did I like switch over to a different book?
To it and
Can I
then
fast
move
forward?
on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
If you're going to do it right.
That's why I fully recommend
And make it part of your story. Oh, wait.
Greg Abbot's Expeditionary. Because the sexiness,
Oh yeah.
if you know what it's like, then I won't bore you with details. And if you don't, I thought it was just the perfect way to go out because, a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got a whole crowd of book burners in Texas. I have some pictures from the 30s.
I got a thing to
Folks
hold on to
burn
the end of
books.
this. Also,
Right. Same folks as Texas.
If we keep talking about book burning, that's going to be soon.
Wyoming's court just came back saying they're charge librarians with fucking the books you're talking about.
There you go.
People complained to the sheriff referred it to Who's It's looked at it, was like, yeah, dumb fight, I don't want to get I will get tired.
Can I tell you about my high school?
No, that's where I thought you were going.
Oh, so anyway, when I was in high school, the book was Catcher in the Rye.
No, communist
Come
manifesto
on.
or degenerate, obscene
Oh.
film. That's the one where he burns his hand.
Anyway, so there were a group of parents who were frantic.
President?
Not joking.
No, but both of them got with Catcher in the Rye.
So anyway,
Yes.
well, clearly it's. Anyhow, so here they are. And, it's a handful of parents. They're trying so hard to get something started about this filthy, obscene book. And so my high school principal calls a meeting for 7:30 on Thursday evening. And the whole, what was it called, media center fills up with parents. Most of them could give a shit. They're there to see what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of students. And the two front rows filled with parents who were all but frothing at the mouth. Anyway, so 7:30 comes. He walks out to the center of the stage. He says, "We won't be burning any books at this school." Turned on his heel and walked out.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that conversation.
Well played.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's how you're gonna handle this. Don't let people take your rights away to read whatever book you want, no matter how good or bad that book may be.
Especially not, I'm looking here at the list of like why Catching the Rye is bad. Inappropriate and offensive language, sexual content, occultism, and violence.
That's like
Wow.
every book ever fucking written.
That's like the distilled like essence of America.
Yeah. That's us described in, basic words.
Oh, and bikinis.
Oh, of course.
So a
bikinis.
year later, right?
Yes.
Last week of my junior year in high school. So he calls me out in the hall. And I'm going, okay, I've done lots of bad things.
Yeah.
But nothing recently and nothing he should know anything about. So I get out in the hall and he says, faculty and I had a conversation about you and we've decided it would be better for all concerned if you didn't come back next year.
Whoa.
And I'm standing in the hall going,
Did I just get
why the hell are you
expelled?
expelling me?
I
He
think
said,
I have
"Not
to
at
have done
all."
something.
He said, your future is elsewhere. You need to be gone. I said, okay, I'll take a GED and go to the university. And he said, you will not take a GED. You will graduate from high school. And so it turned out I could take a credit and a half in summer school. I needed 2. And I took the last half credit by correspondence, and he proctored my exams all summer long.
Oh, wow.
That's what I said.
That's amazing.
So I graduated on time with the rest of my class. Of course, I've been gone for a year. Anyway, so
That's amazing.
I like.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, I like that.
Anyway, let's see what else have we got. Oh yeah, okay. So, you want something good in the world?
Yep.
Imagine the world being populated by hundreds of fatherless condors. Now that we know condors can do that.
I can hear blood vessels
whole
popping in
parthenogenic
Ted Cruz's
thing.
head from right over here.
I know.
All right. So he wanted to talk about the condors again as just whatever. So I decided it was time for California condor facts. All right, here we go. The California condor is actually referred to as a New World vulture. Okay. It was declared extinct in 1987 when all the remaining wild individuals had been captured, but since then has been reintroduced to northern Arizona, southern Utah, the coastal mountains of central and southern California, and the northern Baja California and Mexico. So it is now listed as critically endangered by IUCN, which is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. So there you go. There is your California condor fact.
Of course, it had to be a winged dumpster fire that could photocopy itself.
Well, yeah, and it turns
Thank
out
God it was.
the
Let's
ones
be
that
honest,
the ones
we
they
would've
found
lost it.
that had no fathers, they were in captivity. So I'm guessing the ones out in the wild, the little girl condors find little boy condors.
But if they're
Anyway.
vultures, that means they've got a better chance. I know the thing that's doing in the bald eagles is being predatory and mine runoff. Puts mercury in the fish, puts mercury in the thing, makes their shells not hard enough.
Oh,
plus
yeah.
mercury.
That's not good.
So I'm on Lake Gunnersville fishing, right?
Uh-huh.
And we have gotten into a school of perch. Now,
Nice.
perch are good eating, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanna snatch some perch, right? So we're snatching 1.5 pound perch, right? Which is a nice size perch. These are going to be some good eating.
Oh, they're fun fishing too. Yeah.
And I look up, and there is a bald eagle in the final part of her dive, and she's going to land in the boat. My first thought was, I had a perch in my hand. I was taking off the hook, and my first thought was that she was going to come take that perch out of my hands, and I was not going to fight with her. She's
No.
going about 65 miles an hour, and there's nothing but wings folded back and talons.
Uh-huh. Big ones. Yeah. These aren't small animals.
So she hits the water between the edge of the boat and the tip of my buddy's rod.
Oh.
And she pulls out the biggest perch I've ever seen. 2 flaps, and she's flying away with this giant perch and busy orienting him so he'll be aerodynamic. But when I looked up and I saw her coming, I said, oh my God. Now I know how the fish feel. It was beautiful.
That's amazing. No, that's awesome. You had mentioned something about another asteroid.
Oh no, this was just the same one, right? The
Oh.
one the size of a refrigerator, right?
Oh.
Past 2,000 miles from Earth.
Again,
That's
for
a close
reference.
shave.
Again, for reference, how close is the moon to us again?
The moon's about 240,000 miles,
Okay,
but the
so this is
geosync
close.
satellite belt is 24,000, right? So anyway, this is the closest of shaves. And after the New York Police Department, the Michael Flynn and his collection of creatures,
Mercenary intel
Yeah.
kids.
and the book burners in Texas, I'm kind of sitting here looking at that going,
Oh, you've joined me on Team Asteroid?
yeah. Can I convert a rain dance to an asteroid dance? How would you attract an asteroid? So, and if goodness of heart has anything to do with it, yeah, North America's due an asteroid.
Sure. Yeah, that's all extremely interesting. And now let's get into these numbers and percentages and statistics that I All right. So, as I was saying, we're going to start with kind of a basic overview here, and then I'm going to give you some other numbers, which I'm hoping are really going to shock and hopefully make you mad. Like, you should be mad. So let's start with 1960. Okay. So in 1960, your average median income for a family in America was $5,600. Okay. So that's like for a family for blah, blah, blah. What is it? Mom, dad, and 2.5 kids
Five
or
kids
something.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever that is. So what a median income is, for those of you who are uncertain, it is it's the income amount that divides a population into two equal groups. Half of an income above that amount and half having an income below that amount. Okay, so the median income is like right in the middle. So, as I said, in 1960, the average median income was $5,600, which translates to 2021 money as $51,896.49. Okay. So in the 2020 census, an average median household income was $67,521. Now, that sounds good, right? You're sitting there saying, "Oh, that's not too bad. That's pretty close, and more,
around $16,000 more.
right?" Yeah, so it's more. However, if you look at the costs of a house in 1960, okay, your average house in all of America, so this is a very broad number, was $11,900.
So 2 years' income would buy you a house.
Yeah.
Sure. And that adjusted for inflation for 2021, that turns into $105,438. Okay. So.
But the average house that sold in Tucson last year was $330,000.
Right. But we're talking about the average for all of America, because getting into individual states, it gets really weird because some states are stupid high and some states are stupid low. So
Yeah, but you just adjusted for inflation.
Right, for the inflation of a house in 1960, which the average across America was $11,900.
Right.
And the inflation was $105,438.
And I'm telling you, the average house costs 3 times that much today.
Right. So
Okay.
this is where I'm headed. Okay. So in 2021, your average house in America, this is a new house.
Oh, okay.
So your average new house in America across the country is going to be about $408,800 on average. Okay. Now this number is 3.875 times higher than the 1960 prices.
Yeah.
So we're getting
So instead of 2
400%.
years' income buying you a house,
Mhm.
it now takes 7 or 8 years' income to buy you a
and
house.
that's all of your money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's every penny.
that's no other expense.
Yeah.
No, but it's a rational way to think about it.
Right, but we have a lot more things to spend money on nowadays, right?
Agreed.
Because we have internet, which wasn't something back in the 1960s. Okay, we have cell phones,
Yeah.
which wasn't a thing back in the 1960s. There's a lot of costs of living that we have today that couldn't even be conceived of back in the 1960s for a regular everyday household, including computers, including cable, including all of these things.
Yeah, well, you can pass on cable, but
Yep.
for those who are sitting there thinking, well, poor people shouldn't have internet or cell phones.
You can't live without internet or
Exactly.
cell phone in today's day and age. It's not possible.
Right,
You just can't
exactly.
do it. And I dare you to find someone that can and live a normal life. Like,
Right.
Somebody who lives out in bumfuck nowhere, okay, and lives off the land and whatever, they are a rarity, and it's not something that happens every day. It's just
Nor is
not a
it
thing.
sustainable.
And it's
They-
not sustainable
Right.
long term. You have to work outside the home, and the only way to do that is to have a phone and to have internet.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So again, I'm just worried about the ones who say poor folks don't need phones and cell phones and internet because they haven't earned it.
Okay, they want to pull up the rope behind them.
Right.
Yep.
So after looking at all these numbers, which are pretty insane, now we're going to look at the poverty rate in 2020, which was 11.4%. And that's families of 4 living on less than $26,695. That's a family of 4
Yeah.
living on that money. That number should be significantly higher to be considered poverty. Because I had me and my son, and I was living on approximately $26,000 a
Yeah.
year, and let me tell you, it was impossible. I
Okay.
could not do it in New England. It
What
just wasn't-
percentage of people were in poverty in 1960? Do we know?
I don't have those numbers. The numbers back in 1960 are hard to sort. I spent a long time trying to find just
Yeah.
these numbers that I found.
22%. Or at least this is in line with how it fell to 12% by 1980.
Okay, but what were they considering poverty? That's the hard part. Because what they were considering poverty then and what we consider poverty now,
this is...
you can lower the number, right, to make less people be in that poverty line.
Oh, we do that all the time.
But that's my point. My
Yeah.
point is that 26,000, we'll say $27,000 is not enough money for a family of 4 to live on in America today anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just not.
No. So if you look at some of the tricks that we have played, where you used to take the consumer price index based on a fixed basket of stuff that you bought at the grocery store. Now they say, well, when the price of beef goes up, people buy more chicken and so forth. And so we'll change that to chicken.
The
So-
classification of food. It's how it begins. It's how
Yeah.
it's always been done.
Well, see, beef is for rich folks.
You shouldn't eat the things your betters do.
Right.
Yeah, no, this is why I promised before we started, I would not say crazy things. Like, this is one of those areas where my tendency is to say wildly crazy things.
Right. Tax the rich or eat the rich. It's their choice.
No.
Oh,
Like,
speaking
things
of
that would
rich-
get me to talk to the alphabet cousins.
Okay.
Like, no, it's advocation.
Fine.
All right, speaking of which, I do have some very interesting numbers about the top 1%. Now, a lot of people have opinions and thoughts on the 1%, and I will certainly let you two, explain
Okay.
why I'm wrong or why you think this is a bad way to express this. But
Roll Tide.
the wealthiest 1% of Americans control about $41.52 trillion. The bottom 50% of Americans only control about $2.62 trillion collectively by comparison.
Right.
Now, make it into the top 1%. You only need to, so if you want to be in the top 1%, you only need to make, we'll say, $539,000 a year. I just rounded it up. But that's not a lot of money, right?
Oh, and I've got two facts that make
To
it
be in the top
grim
1%.
darker.
When you think of how many people,
Yeah.
right, are in America. So let's get into those numbers. There are 329.5 million people in the USA as of 2020. Now, 3 million of those people make up the top 1%.
Right.
3 million out of 329.5.
Yeah.
That leaves 326.5 million people making under 539,000 per year, which means 164.75 million people share this $2.6 trillion versus the 3 million people that share the $41.52 trillion.
Golly.
So the people in the bottom 50% of America only have 6% as much as the top 1%.
Yep.
6%.
Well, and recognize that top 1% is still well in the range of the, sort of senior managers, right? If you want to see wealth inequality, look at the top 0.1%.
Oh, yeah. No, the point I would make is 2/3 of 1%ers are born as 1%ers. Right, it's only a third of people move out. Right, that's the yardstick I usually look at as the possibility of intergenerational wealth change.
Right,
and it doesn't happen.
And the real thing that you guys really need to take away from this, I know I threw a lot of numbers at you, but I'm going to simplify this. 50% of Americans share exactly 6% of what the top 1% enjoy daily.
Yeah.
Those are your numbers.
Yeah. And it gets infinitely worse above that.
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
And that's the part we always screw up, because we have this conversation, we make the numbers, and we are going to lose because somebody's going to point out that the overwhelming majority of the 1% works more than 60 hours a week.
Okay, so does the overwhelming majority of people who are just above that poverty line and aren't getting the help they need.
No.
I know people who work 80 hours a week and are
Yeah.
barely making ends meet.
Yeah.
I used to do it.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm telling you why they win. I don't care about the rest. Remember, I'm going to be enjoying watching it all burn down. So, no, I absolutely agree with you. It's not good. But the people who are working the 16, 80 hours a week, not a one of them a CEO or a CFO or a CIO. The people who are making money from stocks, they don't work 80-hour weeks.
Right.
They don't work 4-hour weeks. I don't actually know what it is a CEO is supposed to do, because it's not like they can stave off a leveraged buyout, because that's just going to happen. They're just going to show up with your stock and be like, "Oh, we own you now." But
the purpose of a CEO is to look at the business and say, how can my business do two things? One of them is grow in a rational and sustainable way, right? Actually, three things. The next one is delight my customers so that they will come back. And the third is, how do I delight my employees, because they're the ones who make all this happen.
oh yeah, replacing a
And
worker.
if you don't believe that's true, American Airlines canceled 1,500 flights this weekend because they couldn't get their people to the airplanes.
Yep. Well, and they bought a bunch out with early retirement, and if I had taken early retirement, there's no way I'm going back, because they're going to want to stop that. I'd go work for a different airline.
What really screwed American up was that they had high winds in Dallas-Fort Worth, which made the FAA keep the aircraft further apart and reduce the capacity of the airport. And that disrupted their flights downstream. And now they have crews who have hours left, but they aren't in the right place to get on an airplane.
So what you mean is just-in-time delivery doesn't work for inventory in stores or in any other flavor of business.
Right.
Okay. No, tell me that's not the same problem.
Oh, it's the same problem.
Right?
You've designed a system that works well when it works and falls catastrophically apart when it doesn't.
I hold the kids who say we designed a system to addict China to blue jeans and manufacturing.
So, anyway.
And they're not wrong. You can look at where all the manufacturing went. And then we changed styles. It's not entirely that. Calm down. But,
No, we have a huge problem with the distribution of income and wealth. Mexico has a better distribution of income and wealth than we do.
Yeah, and that,
Jamaica does.
yeah.
And so the other thing is people talk about, well, there are all these shootings and so forth. And, no European country has this problem. You're right. European countries are first world. We are third world. If you go look at other countries that are similar to us in distribution of wealth and income, right? Their gun murders, same as ours.
Yeah.
For the same reasons.
Mm-hmm. No, people are mad and people are scared and people don't know what to do. And when you keep, putting your foot on the bottom, 20-50% of,
Iran. We're on par with Iran. Sorry, I'm looking at the map.
Yeah.
Morocco. Yeah.
Well, and so you're back to the,
well, and who was it we saw the other night talking about we're going to be next? Was it Syria or
Bosnia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because the rise of the 60s made us wildly integrated in terms of housing, and we've done away with a lot of that. Schools are more segregated now than when we were a kid.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's because we're more economically segregated,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Again,
Your job
that's the
determines where
Fox
you live.
that's the Fox News model. Is you've got billionaires paying millionaires to tell working folks that black folks is the problem.
That's everybody's news model.
I don't think it's everybody's news model, but it certainly works for a couple of places.
Oh yeah. But
No, if we don't do something about the inequality of income and wealth, we will be a third world country in every respect.
No, and there's a few things that we can do to help out right now. That's universal income and that's raising the minimum wage.
Go raise the minimum wage.
Yeah.
We can talk about universal income later.
when
No,
somebody
Go
no,
raise
that's
the minimum
fine.
wage.
But what I'm saying is these two things need to happen in some amount of sunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For it to really be able to help.
And that's what the Democratic Party should be going after, hammer and tongs in every state. They should be trying to put that on the ballot because that brings people to the polls.
that we
right.
won in 2012. That's how you
So-
can tell when Democrats want to win. It's what they talk about at the local level.
Right.
When they just want to hold the line and watch, right? And when they want to sit vigil for what's the last three members of the middle class, cool. But no, my concern is if we screw this up, right? Forget all the other numbers and stuff, right? The one number that I'm very concerned about is how many guns are in America and who has gun ownership
About
like
200
us.
million.
Yemen is the second most armed country on earth after us. And they don't seem to be a kind of place I'd like to go for a vacation.
Right?
Well, you won't have to go soon enough.
Oh no,
You'll be there.
yeah, well,
And you'll have the American Taliban to help you
got 'em.
understand what God is
I was
for.
looking at Mike Pence today talking about how James Madison told him to buck Trump, and I liked that story better when they were saying it was Dan Quayle. I'm not sure I believed it, but at least that A, cool callback, and B, all right, Dan Quayle got one right. I'll give him the potatoes thing now. So no, we'll see.
I can't spell potato.
No, what you really need to do is, again, talk to your governors, talk to your senators, talk to your representatives. And
Well, it's
say,
not a lot of point in talking to the Republicans. You should be talking to the Democrats, telling them to get serious about fixing things for the American people.
starting with
And
the
if they're
minimum
not
wage.
if they're not ready to do that,
Then they're not serious.
they're
You
going to
should
get
primary.
exactly what they deserve in 2022 and 2024.
Yeah. And the problem is,
Hey, if you've been on the
And I
fence about putting
promise
your name
you-
on a ballot, do it. Go for
I
it.
promise you that Donald Trump can find an attorney general to bring some of
that
them to
pretends
trial.
Donald Trump is the problem.
Donald Trump is a symptom.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you put him in the White House, and I guarantee you he can find an attorney
yeah.
general who will put some Democrats in prison.
No, Steve Bannon is not kidding. That's one of those ones who you go, that one's bright. Watch
Mhm.
out.
Yeah.
And his idea of bringing in people who know how the system works. Look at how Stephen Miller screwed up getting the translators out.
So, January the 6th committee, go get Bannon.
And then remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you, 5 subscribers. We see you. We love you. We want more. Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Don't tell your friends. Just go and subscribe on their account.
Yeah, just while they're not looking, grab
As
their
a Christmas
phone.
present or whatever.
They'll,
Right. I
they'll
like
appreciate it. They'll
Yep.
respect it.
Thanksgiving, that's what they can be thankful for.
And we want to remind you once again that condors were declared extinct and are now just critically endangered. So yay!
Right.
Self-making baby condors. Well played, condors. Good
And they
job.
flap around and they land on lights at the North Rim
We're going to die in a
Count for
condor.
and watch the
Dream
ranger
scenario.
tell stories about them.
Overrun by condors.
Those are some big damn buzzards.
Right?
All right. So once again, we were happy to have this discussion. Please, please, please comment. Tell us what you think. Are we right? Are we wrong? Do you hate us? Do you love us? We want to hear. Let us know. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Boomer Rex Tonight.
Good night.
Bye, you know.